like, don't shout out Juneteenth, G. I want all the perks. But like little shit like the bank being closed or some of my favorite restaurants, I ain't asked for all that now. You know what I mean?
Man, well, maybe that should be the only thing open.
Man, white folks would rather starve. They'll start making it a thing like, man, like they'll act like how people are acting when they thought like Y2K was coming and they thought the world would end. They would just start prepping for Juneteenth like that. We're all going to go to a lake house. We're all going to stay here. We're going to grill out and fight for our rights.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back. Yet another episode of Point Forward. I'm Andre Iguodala here with my guy, Evan Turner. We have finally crowned our 2024 NBA champion, the Boston Celtics. Congrats to them. We will be diving in to discuss ET's perfect prediction of what was going to happen this season.
Point Forward.
Point Forward is sponsored by DraftKings. Stay tuned because you'll hear more about what DraftKings has to offer throughout the show. DraftKings, the crown is yours.
Point Forward.
So although the Celtics have just won the 2024 NBA championship, we've already got the future odds for next season. Boston, of course, is at the top of the list at plus 290. We'll dive into that probably next episode on salary cap, some of the future things that are happening already with free agencies, how's that affecting the teams and how they're put together. Denver Nuggets, figuring they will retool and try to figure out how to get back there. They're second in odds at plus 800. OKC Thunder is surprising to me with third and odds of plus 850. And the Minnesota Timberwolves are at fourth, plus 900, followed by the Milwaukee Bucks and the Dallas Mavericks. Any names up here surprise you?
Probably the Nuggets.
Really? And you mean you don't think they're as likely to win or get back to the finals?
For one, the Celtics just went 80-21 for a season, so they won 80% of their games. I just think, like, with the youth that's around, like, what is Denver going to do to get that much better? When you look at the Thunder, you have that young core that's so good, a championship MVP caliber performer like SGA. You even look at, like, the Josh Giddey situation. I think they'll do a sign and trade, but, like, the pieces they're about to bring in the offseason that, like, a Chet Holmgren's going to have, along with some other players, is pretty dangerous. Then you do a whole nother year with Anthony Edwards where he licked his chops. Like, I feel as though there's young teams that are going to get really good. I just haven't seen the Nuggets do enough to be like, yo, they're second best team in the NBA for sure. You know what I'm saying? Of course, winning the championship, I don't take that lightly whatsoever. There hasn't been a repeat champion or anything close to that in a few years. So when you sit still, every single year is a toss-up. If you want to add it up, where are the Heat at? Because the Heat, for the past 5 years, have lost to the eventual champs. You know what I mean?
Agreed on the Heat, but they somehow, some way just keep ending up in the 7th, 8th, or 9th or 10th spot.
But I'm just using that example as just like when we're adding it up and we're taking like history into effect. It's like, well, I just don't see the Nuggets as the second best team maybe in the league next year with those 3 or 4 teams behind them. I just think that's kind of crazy. What pieces are they going to add?
But I don't think anyone predicted Dallas getting to the finals this year. And I think, because I think we spoke about this before when Minnesota beat Denver. I thought Minnesota was probably the only matchup problem for Denver.
And for the Celtics too.
Yeah. Yes, I would agree. I think Denver would give Boston problems as well.
I don't know if anybody can guard Jokic, and then we're joking, but they just showed something with Jamal Murray the other day. I forgot the stat, but it was something crazy, like most series with like consecutive 30-point games. Like we be forgetting like that duo is pretty elite.
Yes.
They gotta do it more. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying like Jokic being the best player in the league. It's just like is a championship or is a second round loss like it's been doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Who's the elite defender? This is Aaron Gordon. Is there another elite defender on that Nuggets team? Because Dallas had a KCP. I thought Dallas had a good scheme to not let JT get 35-40. But I thought JT had an awesome finals run. Very underrated. I don't think he was given the credit he deserved because the defense was tailored around not letting him get his, and he made all the right plays. But it was just an amazing team effort. So as we jump into it, the Celtics won their 18th championship. How many games did they lose this year? 18?
They lost, 21?
Oh, 21. Somebody had some crazy stat on the number 18 surrounding the Celtics. But what stood out the most for you just the whole season, what you saw from the Celtics? There's Al Hortford, there's Brad Stevens and what he's done. There's Derek White, there's Joe Mazzulla, there's Jayson Tatum, there's Jaylen Brown, Finals MVP. Congrats to him. There's Jrue Holiday. And then there's I'll let you tackle the other one that we have noted.
The most impressive thing is the ship always stays steady. Like nothing rattled them the whole year. I don't think any media thing really got in the way to really rattle them or kind of get under their head or anything. I think that was a big deal. Like the ship stayed steady and they just literally were like, okay, we know we're supposed to win. Let's go out and win and let's not play with our breakfast. And what they do, they went 16-3 through the whole playoff run. And like I keep saying this, they finished their season a month before anybody was using the last 2 weeks to practice. Them boys got like a 79.3 win percentage. So 4 out of every 5 games, G, like when you remove yourself is crazy and dominant. And y'all went 73-9, which is even crazier. And then when you add up like that year y'all lost, it's like, so y'all lost 4 games. Y'all never lost like 2 in a row that whole year. Y'all lost 4 games in the span of a week, which was half. It's just like mind-boggling to me of just like good and great, or, you know what I mean? How crazy, a season can be, or just most importantly, finishing your breakfast.
We live in a world now where everything is over-scrutinized and they'll find anything to become a part of the narrative. And it could be bad for the game, but I don't even think we care. We've lost like the respect level of how we cover our game. And I shouldn't say we, I've said we've allowed it to, because, we're tech forward. We want our fans to be closest to us because we're so visible. And we've just allowed a lot of noise to get into the game. And like you said, I give a lot of credit to the Boston Celtics. And I would mainly say Jayson Tatum and Jaylen Brown, and for handling business like brothers and completing the task. Because we've seen it before where that can get in the way of a championship. And shout out to Jrue Holiday. That's our guy. Like we called it. You called it from day one. Jrue Holiday going to end up in Boston. And if he ends up in Boston, it's over. And then he just signs an extension there. I'm pretty sure they bring back Derek White. We got to break down this new apron, first, second apron, the salary cap, how that may or may not affect them. They got Porzingis, but they handle business, and you got to give them a lot of credit. They came out, did what they needed to do, and they should enjoy the summer.
Point. Forward.
Speaking of Al Hortford, 38 years old, he's played 17 seasons. I think he was second all-time games played without a championship behind Karl Malone.
That's crazy. Let's talk about that, because it's one thing to do 18 seasons. It's like when Gilbert Arenas tried to say that Vince Carter underachieved because he was averaging 28 at 24. You know what I mean? He never got better. And it's like, damn, my G, like you look at James Harden got 120 games. CP got 100 and some games. I've never been at y'all level, dog, but if I get 120 something times a crack at it, G, like you play 18 years, you ain't getting that in. Like when is I know winning championship is hard, but come on, my G.
It's hard.
Bro, it's hard, bro, but not when you elite, you have talent, and I like to believe if you have a chance to affect the game. But let me go back and play devil's advocate. There's a 5-year run during Al Horford's tenure. There was about only 2 teams in the narrative. So, So I'll give a third of his career based on some bullshit. Like, you know what I mean? Because it's like, bro,
That's a bar.
at one point it's just like, all right, so the Toronto, you make sure you book your flights home by like around Memorial Day. You know what I mean? I'm gonna be at the crib after the first 7 days. Brian and them and the Warriors, y'all would be playing, you know what I mean, in June, and that was pretty much it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and it was just all right, just make it hard for him at least.
Yeah, maybe like please just let it be like 4-2.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like at that point, man. But I'm not knocking anything. Y'all are truly a dominant team. So it is what it is.
Yeah. Any words on Brad Stevens? You spent some time with him. Just being able to just, seize an opportunity and hop on it and execute on making sure it gets done.
Yeah, I mean, Brad, I just talked to him this morning. I didn't talk to him. I said, yo, good job, champ. And he was like, thanks, CT. I appreciate when the homies text me back ASAP and like hecticness. You know what I mean? So I reached out to him and Joe Mazzulla. But I think like one thing that occurred that was, Brad always has a bigger picture, G. He's 3 or 4 steps ahead, man. I think when his story comes out, not only his genius, but, somewhat his killer mentality, but his patience. You understand what I'm saying? Like, I think he reads the whole board. I think he knows certain moves he wants to make, but I think he sticks to the bread and butter. Like, for one, he's going to tell you Jaylen and Jayson are two. He knows Jaylen and Jayson are two of the best, like the best duo for a long time. You don't need nobody to say, are you going to break them up? It's about how you build around them and make sure, you give them the best position to succeed. And I think one thing that Jayson said last night was like, I just want to thank God for putting me in the best position to use all my talents. Yep. And when you say that, that's either having Jaylen Brown or having Drew Holiday or having a Brad Stevens at the forefront or having like a young Joe Mazzulla. But like literally when you add that up, it's like everything's clicking for them to win 4 or 5 games, G. And I think one thing that occurs is the trade when Dame left and he was able to get Drew. And that was it.
What did he give up for that trade?
He gave up Robert Williams, and he gave up maybe like a second. Man, he didn't give up enough. He gave up Malcolm Brogdon. And that was perception-wise. Man, back to Milwaukee, dog. Like, or whoever. I don't know how this occurred, but like this, like I don't even know what occurred, but like that is crazy. You just gave my guys, bro. Shout out Rob Williams, shout out Malcolm Brogdon. But like shout out Portland too. I don't know what happened, but that whole thing.
They got a first round pick, this year's first round pick from the Warriors. Shout out to Mike Dunleavy. When I asked him if they had any first round picks, he was like, "Nah, you're the reason why we don't." And I said, "Oh, why is it my fault you don't have a first round pick?" He said, "Because in the trade to Memphis, we had to give up a first round pick." I said, "You traded me. Like, what are you talking about?" He was like, "Oh yeah, perception is crazy." But they also get a 2029 unprotected first round pick the Blazers got from Boston. And we need to break that down? Like, what's a good trade? What's a bad trade? I know we read The Art of the Negotiation, and like one thing was in there. Rule number 1, you want both sides to be able to win, and that's what defines a good trade or negotiations, whatever. But it's like when Jerry West. Shout out to Jerry West. When Jerry West traded. Speaking of the Celtics, and when Jerry West traded Paul Gasol, he had to know the Lakers are going. The Lakers will win 2 at least. So when Portland trade, if you're not a bad team, if you're a rebuilding team, are you making trades understanding like, oh, this one might put the league in a chokehold for a couple of years, but cool with us because it's going to take us 6, 7 anyway.
Yeah, these are some monopoly ass players. Like when you sit there, they like, it don't matter to me. Shit, we can sit in jail. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because legit.
That one.
Yeah, because you start adding up. They like, all right, Scoop 19, Jayson and Jaylen, them boys 26, 27. You know what I mean? They start adding up. All right, we give them 4 or 5 years, get to a Western Conference, maybe get to a championship, make it look good, but we ain't really finna beat them till they out their prime. Like, come on, G. We in a heyday right now, fam. This is another thing I'm forgetting. Like, we didn't even see like Wilt's 100-point game. You understand what I'm saying? So, like, we are still, like, in the midst of where I hope coaches and players realize, like, yo, the best of the best is still coming. Pause.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like, you understand what I'm saying? Like, these kids at 16 are jumping out the gym, doing all this crazy stuff. So, I think when they're saying, like, if you look at Jayson and Jaylen, it's like, shit, well, right now, you go find me another two better than that right now. And since they won a championship and they on 10, bro, come on, bro. Them dudes, they might as well do an R&B album, bro. They finna be rich as hell, winning. Like, you look at Walt Clyde Frazier, you look at James Harden. James Harden's one of the best personalities in the past 10 years.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But then they use it against them whenever they feel the need to. Whenever they try to. Say.
Yeah, but I'm saying he went into the Spurs when they still had Timmy D and shit, and Steph and them were still little kids. He said they were the best shooting backcourt ever. You feel me?
He said it. Yeah, he said it. He told it all of us. This Steph team move out his way. Get in his way, you go. And speaking of, no, that's what Mark Jackson said. And I was like, that's what made me respect him at a different level. When Mark Jackson told the entire team, this is Steph Curry's team, just in case anybody get it confused. And I'm going to remind y'all from time to time in case somebody else get confused. And if I need to tell you too many times, we're going to find somewhere else for you to understand it because it ain't going to be here. And I was like, this might be one of my favorite coaches of all time because I would love for a coach to say that, period.
Point. Forward.
We're this close to crowning an NBA champ. And with the action heating up on the court, it's even hotter at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. With same-game parlays, live betting, odds boosts, and so much more, don't miss out as the NBA postseason winds down. And if you're new to DraftKings, you got to check this out. New customers bet $5 to get $150 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code POINTFORWARD. That's code POINTFORWARD for new customers to get $150 in bonus bets when you bet just $5. Only on DraftKings. The crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In West Virginia, visit www.1800gambler.net. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas. 21 plus age varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. No sweat bet per new customer. Issued as one bonus bet based on amount of initial losing bet. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. See dkng.co/bball for eligibility, wagering, and deposit restrictions, terms, and responsible gaming resources.
Point. Forward.
You spoke on something that stood out to me too in terms of like these guys are about to be so rich they might as well do an R&B duo album, which I think they really should. Like that would just like you talk about, you know, some culture, some fun stuff, you know, do something fun, playful for the fans like that actually go over well. You just throw on some auto-tune and that speaks to, you know, luxury tax implications going forward for the Celtics. So, you know, the NBA luxury tax threshold is rising to $171.3 million. Celtics are at about $192 million in contract obligations for next season. Jayson Tatum is eligible for the Supermax. So we plan on Jayson Tatum, God willing, signing a 5-year, $315 million contract, which will make it the richest contract in NBA history, surpassing Jaylen Brown, who just signed a 5-year, $304 million deal. That was the former, well, it's the record now, but will be the former record soon. And so in totality, they both could receive in totality $480 million combined between 2025 and 2029. Next year, they will likely be luxury tax payers again, which makes them repeat offenders. And so there are a bunch of penalties that are being put in place. You know, I've seen just being on the Warriors side where you're penalized for homegrown talent in terms of the luxury tax. So we'll see how that takes shape and form over the next few years because it takes a few years to really settle in on how the new rules are being broken down. So that's going to be something to watch for and how it affects dynasties because do dynasties help or hurt the game? You get some all-time viewership when you do see dynasties, I believe, because the Bulls, obviously, with the Lakers, you had great viewership, I believe. And then obviously the Warriors had some record years in viewership too. You know, I think Game 7 was the third watch of all time, 2016. And then the first two obviously were the Bulls with Michael Jordan.
Like you said before, like the homegrown talent and how that gets affected. Which kind of is terrible in a sense because it's like we chose right, we did our job right. Mm-hmm. And now it's not even a joke, but it's like, all right, you penalizing Brad Stevens or his team from, you know, hitting every time. You know what I mean? And building like a loaded roster in that sense. Even when you're looking right now on that team, Peyton Pritchard, like he'll be starting in Orlando maybe or somewhere else. Or you look at Aaron Nesmith. They had to get rid of Aaron Nesmith. It's like, think about how much they drafted and put on, and it's like, I'm not in agreement with that. But as a team governor, what would you do? You got two of the best players in the game that won a championship. You just dive in and worry about the numbers later, right?
Yeah. So what I'm really interested in is how winning affects the valuation of a team. We've been talking about this with Minnesota.
Or OKC.
Valuation. Yes.
Yeah, because I don't give a damn if they won 80 games. It can't be worth more than Billy. That whole city ain't even built up. I'm being dead serious. It's funny, but
I think they're getting a new arena, I think, though.
Yeah, bro, but I was just there 2 years ago, bro. It looked like the bomb went off again in that motherfucker, G. And I'm not being like bogus. I'm being dead serious. Bro, there's a whole block missing. Like it's Detroit. Like
we can't put that.
You can't put it there, but it's crazy. I'm like, bro, like, is nobody gonna notice this whole block is missing?
The valuations for the Kansas City Chiefs is different now that they're winning too. You know?
Yeah, but man,
and it's just very similar.
I guess, bro, and you're absolutely right, bro. But that city still, Kansas City is a little bit more advanced than OKC, and that matters. That matters a lot. It's a different part of the Midwest. Shout out to the Midwest. The Midwest.
But what's in Buffalo, New York?
That nigga with a shotgun, Josh Allen. And bro, they won 4 championships from back in the day. Now you can argue that. That might be a good comparison because they argue they had the best QB of all time. What's buddy name? Jim Kelly, Jim Ryan, Tim Allen, Tim Ryan.
Jim Kelly.
All
Jim
white
Kelly.
QBs got like the same 5 different names. You know what I mean? But keep going.
Jim Joe,
Namath, Steve, Aaron.
Yeah.
Matt. You know what I mean? Matt, it was like 8 Matt starting QB at one point in the NFL. I'm like, God damn, G.
Damn, why am I drawing a blank on his name? Oh, Tom.
Tom. Bro, that's hilarious. Oh, you mean Tom? Tom who? Tom, who you talking about? Tom Brady. He sound like a quarterback. But anyway, I think if like Buffalo and those type teams really get it cracking, I think Oklahoma City could too. But then you compare it to what's up the road from there as well, which was Memphis. And at what level was Memphis in that sense, especially during those grind city times? Like, we've been to the city of Memphis, and it was like them 20,000 people showed up from an hour and a half out. You know what I mean? And then we grabbed our chingies and looked both ways before we got on the bus. You know what I'm saying?
That was some good wings. That was some good wings.
Some good wings. They do their thing. I appreciate them always being there. I appreciate that. But do you think OKC can ever be cracking at that level? And they had James, Russ, and KD there, and it wasn't like they ain't bring their toys or they swag or they tried to get it cracking now.
It's always cracking in that arena, though. I know that. KD had the restaurant. It was a good vibe. I went in there, ate once. It was a good vibe. For OKC, because it was like you found something.
They said they named a crab leg dish after KD. After his legs, not just shocking. It was KD's crab legs. But what I'm saying is, like, I don't know if that town can ever get. They had 4 or 5 MVPs walk through there, G.
Yeah, they had PG, they had Melo, they had CP, they had KD, James, Russ. Yeah, in the past 12 years, they only been down 1.5 years, maybe, or half a season, dog. Yeah. The new crew, they got something with the new crew. They got something.
The new crew is waiting. I just don't know if the city's ready to catch up to all that. I feel as though, like, I'm not saying OKC is not doing their job. I feel as though, like, it'll take the organization to help build that whole area.
What's outside of the football team? What's the difference between Indiana and OKC?
Bro, Indiana's a basketball state, dog.
Facts.
That really matters. Them having a football team really matters because when you sit there, the stadium for basketball is here. The football stadium is right over there. You're building communities. You're building 70, 80,000. You know what I mean? So that's all I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Like, at very least, when you're adding all that up, it's like, no disrespect. Shout out to the 21C hotel, but like, they don't even have no 4 or 5. I don't know what it takes to build that economy, but shit, Cleveland was cracking with one dude.
Cleveland was cracking.
You understand? Cleveland was cracking with Ricky Davis. Cleveland was cracking with Terrell Brandon and Sean Kemp. And Cleveland just got streaked like 7-8 years ago. So I'm trying to figure out, like, you understand what I'm saying?
I hear you.
And that's Cleveland. Detroit was cracking. Like, you didn't realize Detroit was so dangerous until you were like, oh, shit, all my shit gone.
This is true. We weren't in Detroit. I didn't realize that Detroit, the Pistons that I played against, wasn't in Detroit at all.
Yeah, it was in Arlington.
Like, I didn't realize Auburn Hills was that far out until we played in downtown Detroit. I'm like, oh, this is Detroit.
No, that's how Detroit was looking. That's how OKC was looking. Like how Detroit was looking. Exactly like that. So I just don't know how a team can add value in that sense. I feel like it's going to take a whole downtown, whole vibe,
I feel like winning cures it all. That's what I'm saying. And because that's how we got here. I'm saying, do you go that far over the luxury tax when you're in this moment where you just have a moment where you can keep winning? You just keep paying the tax. And with that type of governorship group, their pockets are deep.
Yeah, it's a joke to them, G. They literally is a joke, bro. With that type of dudes with that type of money, bro, tax rate, they probably got tax rate off cheat codes like niggas got like Grand Theft Auto cheat codes, G. Like, you going 100%. Over to tax to do braggadocious shit? Like, sure, here we go, bro. Yeah. This is my team. Yeah. Like, and you have to win. I think after you go through a couple years of bad spells, I think anybody's like, nah, I need this field for 4 or 5 years, and we'll tone it down. You look at the Celtics, it's a pretty great franchise, but this is their first time winning in 16 years.
Yeah.
And they've been to the Eastern Conference Finals like 10 times since then.
A lot. Yeah. Paul Pierce and Rondo and them, they win a lot too. They won one, but they went like 4, 5, 6 times. They win a bunch.
Yeah, they won in 2012 when we were playing versus them. Like, you know what I mean?
They lost to the Lakers in the finals.
They won in 2010. Yeah, you know what I mean? So
they lost to LeBron another year.
In 2012. They lost to Brown in 2012, but I'm just saying that was the Eastern Conference Finals.
Yeah. Who lost to Orlando in the Eastern Conference Finals? The year Orlando went to the finals. Was that Cleveland
LeBron
as well? Yeah, that was LeBron and them.
That was when Dwight was the best player in the world.
Yeah. They sleep on Dwight.
Point forward.
Support for Point Forward comes from Nissan. Maybe adventure isn't for you. Maybe your idea of a wild week is hitting a new coffee shop. That's okay. This ad isn't for you. Y'all can go ahead and skip ahead, because right now I'm talking to the dreamers, the doers, the above and beyonders, the folks who need an adventure-ready car like the 2024 Nissan Pathfinder. This is a vehicle for people chasing experiences, people looking for a long back road to explore, an icy field to traverse, something unknown to dive into. The 2024 Nissan Pathfinder is built for adventure. It's got everything you need to get out there and push yourself to do more, including available intelligent 4-wheel drive ready to take out the toughest terrain. What are you waiting for? You got the tools, so use them. It's time to plan an adventure, because every minute you're sitting there listening, life is passing you by. Here are the keys, the rest is up to you. Adventure better with the 2024 Nissan Pathfinder. Learn more at nissanusa.com. Intelligent 4-wheel drive cannot prevent collisions or provide enhanced traction in all conditions. Always monitor traffic and weather conditions.
Point forward.
We're going to end with giving proper recognition to Juneteenth. And we spoke on Juneteenth, it seems like every season of Point Forward. So we want to close out on some recognition there and what Juneteenth means to us. Essentially, Juneteenth is when there were a bunch of slaves, when the slaves were initially set free. And what was it, 1865,
63? Or is it 60?
1865 was when they were free, but it took 2 years for some folks in the South to figure out they were free. So they didn't even know they were free. And the slaves were still slaves. And so Juneteenth was when the news got to Texas. And I think it was Galveston, which is the home of our guy in Houston, for Teddy. That's where he's from. And this is where this bunch of slaves finally found out they were free from the Emancipation Proclamation. And so it's a super symbolic meaning, a celebration of freedom, perseverance, and the end of the start of the inhumane system of slavery. Officially, yeah, it still breeds itself into the cloth of it. But it's interesting because the significance of Juneteenth it didn't officially become a federal holiday until 2021. After decades of activism and folks speaking up on it. And so I remember growing up in Springfield, Illinois, which I think it was 6th Street. We had historically the Underground Railroad went through Springfield as well. So there, and then NAACP was founded in Springfield, I believe. And so there's a lot of history there. So the Juneteenth festival is usually a weekend. It's a Saturday and Sunday in Springfield. It just occurred last weekend. I talked to your guy, Big Tom. He said he was at he's Big Time. They go to Juneteenth. He was studying. He was studying the Bible. He was in Bible study. But your favorite cousin was there. Terrence. He had his food truck out there, so he was.
Terrence in the food business too.
Well, he has a restaurant.
Oh yeah, he got the restaurant with the swing.
He got the restaurant. Right. So he just takes that same menu, just threw it on the truck, and then he took it to Juneteenth. So he was thinking on his feet. When he told me that, I'm thinking that's what I like to hear. So that was a proud moment. Like, okay, you're thinking of some other income and how you can make moves. It was smart, super smart. So they were just celebrating Juneteenth last week. For me, I always think of Juneteenth as, a moment in time because we have different. It's like it keeps reiterating itself over and over, and we got to keep updating Juneteenth in real time. When I speak on systematic oppression, and how do we help get ourselves out of that cycle? There we go. Yeah. Perfect word.
The only thing I wish about Juneteenth, I'm not even tripping. I just wish maybe in the future it's on Monday, almost on some Memorial Day type shit.
Yeah, it was extra day since they call us lazy anyway.
Yeah, but now they're not even lazy. It's like, no, shout out Juneteenth, G. I want all the perks. But like little shit like the bank being closed or some of my favorite restaurants, I ain't asked for all that now.
Man, well, maybe that should be the only thing open. Maybe she's thinking about it the other way around. So only businesses that are open is because that could be our reparations. We're the only group that's been impressed that hasn't received reparations in current human day times, from what I hear. Like every other culture that's been wrong has gotten reparations. So maybe that's our get back, where it's like you can only shop at our places of business.
No, I mean, I guess so. That shit ain't that. Niggas,
you know how much money that is? I'm talking about all of us. Bro, any of y'all can only shop over here.
Man, white folks would rather starve. They'll starve it. They'll start making it a thing like, man, like they'll act like how people are acting when they thought like Y2K was coming and they thought the world would end. They would just start prepping for Juneteenth like that. Like, we're all going to go to a lake house. We're all going to stay here. We're going to grill out and fight for our rights. Somehow, it's going to be a victimization of being like, we're not celebrating our Juneteenth. So, no.
I actually approve that message.
It's the truth.
It's spot on.
Deadass.
Oh, man.
You mean talking about how we got Juneteenth? That came in with a slew of a whole other bunch of stuff.
Yeah, it feels like a negotiation, like a CBA negotiation. All right, we'll give you this, but what do we got to give up something in return?
Well, no, they said by the time it hit 2021, like, I guess, bro, but like we literally are calling my cousin Ron Veronica now. Like, you know what I mean? Like the same, like, you know, like, not even, like, you know how many rules they did let into the door? And it's like, no, this is, and I'm
what's sad about, what's sad? No. What's sad about it? I know you're not knocking. That's the sad part. I know you're not knocking it. And if people would just hear what you're saying, it's on brand. It makes sense. Like, it's perfectly put.
We in 2021, dog. Y'all finally recognize Juneteenth after y'all had us in slavery for 400 years. Like, what are we even talking about?
That's wild.
I'm glad for the new age, but we didn't do that for the sake of doing that. We did it to mix in and stir the pot with whatever else is going on, my G. Like, we threw this
100%.
This real race relation problem in with whatever else is going on, like, is equal to. And that's how, when we keep talking about the pot, we keep doing this and having so many different conversations where like we don't prioritize what's the real problem. We say all the problems. Yeah. You understand what I'm saying? We say all the problems are the same problems. And we're like, well, we handle it. It's like, bro, y'all just literally just took us for a doozy again. It's just not what the fuck we was talking about. Like, you understand what I'm saying? Like, before giving us reparations for us building a country, you got me calling the homies outside, G. Like, the other day I went into a restaurant and I had to be like, oh, my fault. I didn't mean to call you bro. Knowing damn dude's beard was heavier than mine, G. And the only difference between was I had on Jordans and Buddy had on bell bottoms and open toes. Like, you understand what I'm saying? And it wasn't bad. But I was just like, this is crazy.
Right. Nah, it's right. Yeah, because I didn't know until I got there that Arizona hadn't recognized Martin Luther King Day.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Martin. Yeah, and like when you
I was like, wait, if I would have knew this, I wouldn't be standing here right now.
Yeah, if you would have known that, like, bro, we not playing in no games. We not, like, you understand what I'm saying? Not doing none of that. We sitting here having real conversations about this other goofy shit. So when people ask me about current events, it's like, which ones, bro? I'm only worried about living and dying now because current events ain't, I don't even know. Anything is a goddamn event now, G. And anything is a topic. And it's like, bro, I didn't go to the voting booths to stay here for an hour and a half stumped. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm running for state rep pretty soon too, just so you know. So cash on the show.
we in voter season right now.
Shout out to my aunt. She's a state rep. And now I've donated, but there's been years, I guess I just never really paid attention. I'm like, damn, you was running? And I didn't do no donations, and she still won.
Okay.
Isn't that amazing? So shout out to
She's standing on business.
Standing on business. I'll be sitting there and be like, damn, I could have threw a little something. I'm like, why don't you say nothing? But she literally just calls and checks on me. And that's literally it. Like, and sometimes like you running again, like, but shout out to my Aunt Camille.
Shout out to all that are in government affairs trying to do what's right. Support for Point Forward comes from Nissan. A lot of you listening to this want to push yourselves to do more this year. You came into 2024 with huge plans. If you're hungry for more adventure in your life and you're ready to go out and chase an epic experience, the 2024 Nissan Pathfinder is the vehicle for you. Nissan's new Pathfinder showcases what a car can unlock with available intelligent four-wheel drive, tough enough to tackle any terrain at any time. Adventure better with the 2024 Nissan Pathfinder. Learn more at nissanusa.com. Intelligent four-wheel drive cannot prevent collisions or provide enhanced traction in all conditions. Always monitor traffic and weather conditions. Don't forget to follow Point Forward on all social media and subscribe to the show wherever you listen to your podcast. We appreciate you listening. See you next time.